Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. This is your buddy Crypto Profit, and we are going to be looking at the REEF price. So REEF has recently dropped 24.55% in the last 24 hours, and we're going to see if it's a good time to get in, or is this going to keep going down? But before we do that, let's take a look at the overall market. It is down 9.19% in the last 24 hours. Everything is really struggling right now, besides pretty much VeChain with that 14% increase kind of being an outlier. It's always good to be an outlier and be holding that outlier. So let's go over to REEF and see if there's anything we need to know about before we make our price prediction. So obviously in the last 24 hours, we saw a huge dip from that 0.053 all the way down to that 0.0392, which is about where we have the price right now. If you go over to the side here, it did kind of stabilize after the huge dip. We saw, it kind of tried to stabilize. It's still kind of decreasing. It went all the way down to 0.0382. So it did kind of get out of there. As it actually, its lowest point was that 0.0374. But now we're kind of climbing just slowly back up, trying to make up for some of that final dip there, I believe. And then we'll probably level up about that 4-cent mark. Will probably be a little bit leveled there and stabilizing before another, I would say, massive increase for REEF. I think REEF will have a comeback. Obviously, the market cap sitting here at 441.4 million. The volume in the last 24 hours sitting at 634.4 million, and the circulating supply 11.3 billion REEF. So if we go over to the website before we make any price predictions, let's get you guys a little bit familiar with what we have here. So it is powered by Polkadot. It's on the Binance marketplace as well. You can always buy it there. There's also other exchanges as well that you're going to be able to buy it from. They're in the news from CoinDesk, Yahoo, NASDAQ, Chain News. I mean, they're pretty much all over the place. A lot of people here have been talking and hearing about REEF just recently. I think it's grown in hype quite a bit. DeFi is short for decentralized finance. I thought you guys might want to know that. So a lot of people have actually been asking about DeFi. It really is just short term for decentralized finance. It's an umbrella term for a variety of financial applications in cryptocurrency or blockchain geared toward disrupting financial intermediaries. I can never say the word, but what is REEF? REEF is a smart liquidity aggregator and yield engine that enables trading with access to liquidity from both CEXs and DEXs while offering smart lending, borrowing, staking, mining through AI-driven personalized REEF yield engine. So you guys know how much I love the roadmaps in these coins. So I think the roadmap has a lot to do with how well the coin's going to do. So I would actually sneak back here to the 2020 area and see if they did these well. So Q3 2020, we saw that they said Ethereum DeFi protocols integrations v2, REEF aggregation layer, and the analytics engine indexers v2. So one thing you can do is you can go back and see if these did these well. Did they polish these? Did they run through them as quickly as possible to get to the Q4 so that they stayed on time? That's something Cardano is kind of struggling with right now. People aren't enjoying, I guess, their updates. They aren't really doing what they are saying they're going to do, I guess, is what a lot of complaints I'm hearing about. So I guess this is more about REEF and not Cardano, but that's a whole different story. So you want to really make sure they are doing these well and actually polishing these over before they continue on to the next queue. Because if they get to, the final queue and they're just kind of moving on to the next steps, they're never going to come back to these unless there's a bunch of complaints. So make sure they're polishing their roadmap in the beginning and then check on what the roadmap has in the future. Obviously, we see some big names and big updates here. We see a lot of support coming. We see the REEF basket, the smart asset management, REEF SDK, REEF treasury, mobile app, NFT baskets. This could be big. Obviously, NFTs are huge right now, so that's kind of interesting for REEF right there. But, why REEF? And then they go over the liquidity problem, the yield problem, and the fragmentation problem. And they try to explain their case. I definitely would do your own research. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I will never give you guys financial advice. But let's head on over. And by the way, guys, if you ever want to get a lot of information on a coin, the light paper or the white paper, whatever they like to call it, does have a lot of good information. Certain ones are a lot more fun to read than others. This one obviously doesn't seem to be too intriguing. No pictures, no graphs, no anything of that situation or area or field. But there's 20 pages here. It's a lot shorter than the typical, so maybe that's actually worth it. It's up to you and how you like to read and get, kind of explained the token of your choosing. But let's go back to the REEF price chart and try to get a prediction. So obviously we've been doing the prediction for March, we've been doing the prediction for April, and then we do the year-long prediction at the end of 2021. So REEF, I think, does have a long-term potential. And I think before we actually predict, I do want you guys to actually go to Google and just type in the coin you're interested in. Because if you type in REEF crypto news, the first thing you're going to find out is, wow, maybe there's a reason that REEF plummeted. So you can always check these suspicions raised as Alameda Research denies affiliation with REEF Finance. So, this could have something maybe to do with the huge decrease. Obviously, figure out why, this kind of stuff is happening. Figure out if it's going to be recoverable. Do you think they can recover from something like this? This article has a lot more to it. I'm not going to read everything about it. Do your own research like I always tell you. But I'm going to give you my price prediction now that you understand there has been a reason for the dip, and there is a lot going on behind the scenes of REEF. But do I think that it's recoverable? Yes, I think REEF has a long-term potential still. I don't think it's over for them. I think they're going to be just fine. I think that the decrease was pretty immediate, and in the last week, we still see a 2.37% increase, which is pretty, it's not substantial, but let's be honest, it's pretty solid after seeing a 24-hour 24% decrease. Still being positive in the last week is pretty crazy and impressive in my opinion. So REEF, I think it does have an outlying condition to stay positive here. I think it's going to be above 4 cents here shortly, and I think by the end of March, we see it at $4.50 or maybe even 5 cents. I think by the end of April is really where we see REEF start to come back. I think things start to pick back up for it, and I see REEF reaching all the way to that maybe 8 to 9 to 10 cent mark. I think REEF is actually a very big potential there. But do I see it a long term? Yes, I see it long term. I think by the end of 2021, I see REEF being a 20-cent coin or token. REEF is definitely one of those that I believe can go much higher than that, but you guys know I like to keep it a little bit on the realistic side and keep it on the down low of profit potential, because a lot of you guys get a little bit overhyped when I say something too crazy, because my predictions have been fairly accurate here in the past. Since I started the channel, we've gotten pretty good on predicting the prices. So we're going to keep them realistic and realistic and reasonable. So I'd say REEF reaches about that 20-25 cent range by the end of 2021. And that's going to be my price prediction for REEF. I know a lot of you guys asked me to do a video over REEF, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And make sure you hit that comment button and actually type me out a comment and let me know if you enjoyed it. And then if not, let me know what coin you want me to do next. Maybe there's a coin that you're more interested in than REEF. Obviously, there's so many coins, so I'm not going to get to them all, but I will always try to read your comments and attempt to do all the coins I possibly can. But thanks again, guys, for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button, notification bell, so Jim Joe Bob III doesn't find my video before you do. And hit that like button as well. Let's see how many likes we can get. Thanks, guys. Thanks again.